Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, dear listeners and followers of Alkuma TV FM. I send my greeting to say good afternoon again. Today is Saturday, the 25th of February 2023. You are still following or watching Alkuma TV, okay, with in the field or the framework of Practice Your English, and weekly program that takes place every Saturday from 5 to 6 p.m. Ladies and gentlemen, it's 5:15. You is listening in the Wishing TV, Alkuma TV, Practice Your English. As I said a while ago, today is Saturday, the 25th of February, 2023. And as I used to say, this is an opportunity given to us, you teachers, English lovers, students, to express yourself in English. Please don't worry about the mistake you make. As the saying goes, practice makes perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, I send my greeting to say good afternoon again. That's express my profound gratitude to present this broadcast. And today we are going to receive a guest. As you see, we are together. It's not a new, okay, he used to come and share with his experience, teaching experience with us. That's to show his love of teaching English. So in a few minutes, we are going to let him, give him the floor to say to you, to talk to you, okay, and come back to the topic we're gonna share together. Communicative teaching, and this special grammar point is about passive voice. Okay, before that, some other issues are gonna be raised to make it, clear. Okay, let students take notes. Okay, this is so 7772693374. If you can call to participate or to give your opinion about the topic we are going to deal with Mr. Okay, I am going to let him after tell his name. To let other to understand exactly. 7772693374. Okay, if possible to have a short break before coming to my guest place. Well, it's 19 or 20 past 5. You are watching Alkuma TV. Welcome back to Practice Your English, a weekly program, the program that is open to you, where we can learn, speak English, express yourself in English, please. What we can to do, in the classroom, I think this is the right place to share with students, with English learners. Sometimes we invite some teachers, some English learners to come and show up and express themselves in English. This is our aim, the objective of this broadcast. Please, you there, don't be shy, to come, or don't be afraid of making mistake. Practice makes perfect, and nobody is perfect again. So I am going just to talk to my guest. Good afternoon, Mr.
Good afternoon, Mr. Ba.
How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
It seems that it's very hard today.
Yeah, it's very hard. But
okay, so could you introduce yourself to our viewers?
Yeah, I am Mr. Gako, English teacher at Mam Sheikh Mbaye High School, and I'm so honored and pleased to be here to participate to this TV broadcast.
Yes.
I must say that it's not my first time. I have been here twice, but at the radio.
Good.
But this is my first time at the TV and with you. And I would like to thank you for all of the good work you're doing when it comes to promoting the English language. You are doing really a good job.
Thank you. Okay, thank you for having raised this. You students, you viewers, listeners, is Mr. Gako, teacher of English in Mam Sheikh Mbaye High School. So Mr. Gako is, I am just going, how many years or how long have you been teaching Yes.
I'm on my 9th year.
9 years.
Okay, 9th year.
Okay.
Before I came to Tamba, I was in a place called Birkiland where I spent 4 years.
Okay.
Before I shifted with a teacher named Mr. Sis. Because I don't live in Tamba, but I like this place, and since I have been here, I feel at home.
All right. Good. 9 years, of teaching. This is the full experience teacher. That's why we, always wish to be with you. Okay, 77-726-9374. You listeners, wherever you are, whoever you are, you can, call. Take your father's call. You students, if you don't have a credit. And as used to say, okay. So, Mr. Gaku, today, the topic we are going to deal with is about teaching English, but communicatively, communicative teaching. So before communicative teaching, or when dealing with this subject or this topic, we should, focus on the CLT. So why CLT in teaching English?
CLT stands for Communicative Language Teaching.
Good.
And a good shift has been operated since some years, because in the past, the focus was mainly on grammar. Teaching grammar. Of course, grammar is important because it's the set of rules that govern the way a language is spoken. But CLT comes to improve the system.
Good.
Why CLT? Because we see that in this 21st century, people mainly need competence or skills. They need skills. Okay, and the reason why people learn a language is to be able to speak it, to use it in real life situation in order to solve problems. And you see that communication is a very important part of our daily life. Communication is present everywhere, every day, and whatever we do is related to communication.
Yes,
okay,
absolutely.
That's why CLT is very important, to give the students the communicative skills so that they be able to use English in order to solve real life situation, in order to solve problems, to value their personality, to defend their interests. That's why it's very important to focus on CLT and to operate that shift from grammar focus to communicative, to teaching language very communicatively.
All right. So thank you for having raised this point. So I'm just going to ask you another question to get something that is clear. Knowing nowadays, the students' difficulties in speaking English, okay, before shifting from the old-fashioned teaching, okay, to CLT, this project, okay, or CLT, achieve its objectives?
Yeah, CLT is on the way of achieving its objective. And
because the way you were taught English and now became to an English teacher, differs from the way you are teaching your students, and they are facing problems or difficulties in speaking English. You understand?
Yeah, I understand.
Okay,
I understand. And as you said, a big shift has been operated. I remember my teacher, he was in terminal. He was a very good teacher, but very much focused on grammar.
Only.
Okay? On grammar. But today, with the CLT, we see that students are making progress. Sometimes when you talk to them, you see that some of them are coming, and the CLT is really having very good results. Of course, not everyone is good, but with the CLT, you see now that students, they try their best to speak, especially with activities out of the class, like the English club activities or like the broadcast. All of these help students be able to speak. So we cannot say that the CLT has achieved its objective fully, 100%, but a lot of progress has been made with this method.
All right. So according to you, this is the best, if I can say, it's among the best way of teaching English, to let students now get involved in the activities. So you are listeners or viewers of Alkuma TV, Alkuma FM. Today we received Mr. Gako, teacher of English at Mamsekmbai High School. So he's just raised about, a very important grammar point. CLT or CLT, this is a thumb kind of activity that we can use, I mean, to better the English teaching. So 77-726-9374, you teachers outside, if you, I mean, can do, I mean, give your opinion or point of view about the topic, okay, you are welcome. So if possible to have a short break before coming back to Mr. Gako to tackle the second point of this broadcast. It's, I mean, still, you are still listening to Alkuma TV, Alkuma FM, both. Okay, you can go, yeah, our WhatsApp or Facebook Live or YouTube, I mean, channel, that's to get in touch with us. So I am just going to dedicate this English broadcast to all English teachers in Senegal. I mean, ATES, Association of Teachers of English in Senegal, namely Tambacounda board chapter. I think you are in the board,
Yeah,
the
of
members,
course.
okay?
Yeah.
So charge of the English club,
Yeah.
English clubs, okay? So it's possible to come back to this maybe next time. 77-726-9374. This is the number that we can use, I mean, call to share your ideas, to get in touch with us, okay? Just to give some arguments or ideas about the topic. Communicative teaching, CLT, all these are integrated. So, Mr. Gako, if I understand you, I get you. I think that not possible to talk about CLT without integrating, I mean, the four skills. Okay. So, how can you explain them, or what is the focus? What are the importance in English language teaching nowadays in the 21st centuries?
Okay, so when we talk about skills, we see that it's something that is needed in every domain. And when it comes to language, there are 4 skills that are needed. For somebody to master a language, he needs to know about those 4 skills, which are speaking, listening, reading, and writing.
Good.
These are the 4 skills. Why? When you understand a language, you should be able to speak it. To speak it, to use your mouth and your tongue to make meaningful sentences that somebody else can understand. Okay? You should also be able to write it. Using written language. You should also be able to listen somebody else speaking and understand, okay? And also when something is written on that language, you should be able to read it and understand. So these are the 4 skills that are very important when it comes to English teaching. And it's very important for teachers to integrate the 4 skills in the process of learning English. Because it helps students better understand and be able to use language practically. Because remember, why people don't learn a language for fun. They learn English in order to be able to speak it and solve problems, as I said a while ago. So the 4 skills, they are very important, and they are necessary to master and to integrate in every process of teaching English.
All right. Thank you. It's very interesting. But sometimes there are problems, many problems. You see, our students, some, they can't write. All right. So there others can't speak. Others can't read. What is really the problem? And the teachers are well trained, okay, I mean, to do correctly their job, to teach efficiently. So what is exactly the problem with our students not be able to read? Okay, if you give them a text, you can please read, they got the problem of pronunciation. If you are, you give them a topic, I mean, an activity to speak, speaking activity is a real problem. They face the lack of vocabulary, listening sometimes. When you listen, I mean, they listen to speak, they say, sir, I understand, but I can't answer. So there are problems, really. There are problems. I don't know. It's about the CLT, the way the CLT is settled, or teachers sometimes they don't do their job. Sorry for saying about it. I mean that. How do you analyze, okay, this problem with our students now?
Okay, as you said, the challenges, there are many.
Good.
And they need to be fixed. Of course, the responsibilities, they are shared, and we cannot blame teachers only. Responsibilities are shared. As far as I am concerned, I think that most English teachers are doing their best to respect the CLT process, the CLT system. But the challenges, as I said, there are many. And a lot of students, they lack interest, as I have noticed it. They lack interest. Or others think that English is difficult. Sometimes I say to students that English is the most, the easiest language among all the languages you are studying, including French. But in students' mind, English is difficult. And I say, when you bear something in mind that is difficult, it becomes difficult in reality. Okay, so this is another problem. The other problem also is that a lot of students, they have missed the basis.
Absolutely.
Yeah, meaning at the what we call college. Okay.
The first form.
Yeah, the first form. They missed the basis. And you know, language is a process. It's a kind of chain. So if you miss the basis, it becomes very complicated for you to catch up. Okay. The other problem also is maybe the length of the classes, the number of students. You know, small groups are more manageable than big groups. And what we notice in our schools is that there are many students, sometimes 80, 70 or 80 students in the same class. So it becomes very hard for the teacher to follow every student and to understand every student's need. So challenges are many, but despite their number, I think they need to be fixed, and the English teachers are doing their best to fix them.
Absolutely. All right, English teachers are doing their best to fix them, and the really problem sometimes is with the students, right? The lack of will. There is some, okay, what I say, okay, if you love something, you can succeed in these things. But sometimes they don't want to express them in English. They don't love what they do, and it's really a problem. So thank you for having raised this important, view, okay, relative to communicative teaching, CLT, the fourth key skills, namely speaking, writing, reading, and then listening to. So you, I think you students, you take some notes, okay, what Mr. Gako is talking about, that is very interesting sometimes. Okay, so follow, right. So let's have a short break, and after you come back to the guest place. Dedicated to all teachers of English at Mam Sheikh Mai High School, namely to Mr. Njai, Mr. Bajo, Mr. Zay, Sam, again, Mr. Wage, Drame, I think is there, and Mr. Kamara,
Mr. Jong.
Yes, Mr. Jong, my former teacher in Second and Premiere, is okay, and Madam Jong, okay, and Sis, okay, all English teachers at Mam Sheikh Mai High School, I dedicated this song to you. 77726937. If you want to participate, you can dial this number. It's 35 past 5. You are watching Alkuma TV, listening Alkuma FM, our weekly program Practice Your English. That takes place every Saturday from 5 to 6 p.m. Okay, so we are going to come back to you, Mr. Gako. After having raised all these issues, or these, important things, CLT, the fourth skills. Sometimes I met some students, they asked me why grammar is difficult. And especially there are some grammar points, okay? That's the reason we are choosing one. Is okay. It's about passive voice. Passive voice. What is this? How to teach passive voice effectively, communicatively? I mean, to engage a student in active learning. Okay. So now it seems that you are in your class with the students. Okay. It's up to you to demonstrate. I mean, to show us, I mean, the interest of this grammar point and what will be the difficult, I mean, the weakness, okay, of this grammar point. Yes.
Okay, Mr. Ba, thank you again. So we are here to talk about passive voice, which is a very important grammar point among the different grammar points. And I used to say to students that English has maybe the easiest grammar point, the grammar among the language you speak.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's very easy. And passive voice is very important to know. And it is about tenses, okay? The structure of tenses.
Tenses, great.
Generally, when I teach passive voice in my class, maybe as brainstorming, I write a sentence, active, subject, verb, object, and ask students to rewrite the sentence starting with the subject, with the object.
Object, yes.
So that the object becomes subject, and ask them what is the difference between the two sentences.
Okay.
The first one is active, the second passive. Okay.
All right.
And also, and I write the lesson, and I say why it's important to understand passive, etc., and tell them that passive is about tenses. You know, and what change exactly when you go from active to passive. The subject changes. If it is a subject pronoun, it becomes object, and also the structure of the verb changes. Okay, and I always say to students that in the passive, the subject is not doing the action, but it's undergoing it. Okay,
Undergoing, yes.
That's the reason why we always need the past participle. So the form of the verb is always past participle in the passive.
Good.
And we use also auxiliaries or maybe modals.
Models.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So when I get you, means I just know about your explanation that to form the passive voice, you need, I mean, the rule is the auxiliary to be plus the past participle. And the interesting thing is to master the tenses,
okay.
the tenses for first. But the students, they face this problem, how to form the simple present, okay, affirmative, questions, negative, sometimes, okay, from simple present to conditional past. You have to review all these tenses, I mean, to be able to present a lesson about passive voice. And then the next is, you talk the past participle, all right. There are, I mean, the regular verbs to show them how to form the past participle of the regular verbs, and the past participle of the irregular verbs, where the problem is, because there is no rule to abide by. I mean, you should learn them by heart. Sometimes, if you don't master these verbs, you will have problems of, I mean, going from active to passive.
Okay.
And first, what is active voice? How to recognize a sentence that is in active voice? Sometimes when I go to school, I take my bath. Between the sentences, what is in active voice and what is in what is not in active voice. Our students, they should know all these phenomena. Okay, all this, I mean, structure to let them understand exactly what the passive voice is about. Okay. So yes, it's very interesting. Now, what comes next? Okay, what are really the problems? I mean, to teach a passive voice. Okay. The structure. What is how to transform it? Because students, they want to take notes. Okay. Could you come back to the transformation when you give an active voice, all right? How to transform this active voice into passive voice.
Okay, so I said that passive voice is about tenses. Everything is about tenses, but passive, okay? And when we talk about tense, we talk about verbs because we conjugate verbs in tenses. As I used to say to my student, that the verbs, they are the action in the sentence, and the tense shows the moment or the time the action happened or will happen. So this is the way I proceed. For example, I proceed by tense.
By tenses.
First point, I say, for example, with present simple. How to form passive with present simple.
So what is the rule?
Yes, I write a sentence and I ask the student to turn it into passive voice. And now they see the rule. I say subject plus auxiliary to be in present simple plus past participle. This
subject plus auxiliary to be
in present
simple present plus
past participle.
The past participle
of the verb
plus
yes by
etc. Sometimes if you want to mention the agent complement. All right. Okay.
This is how this is for the present simple. When it comes to present continuous, for example,
can you give an example before going to another? Yes.
Yes. Maybe. Very simple. I eat the mangoes.
I eat the mangoes.
The mangoes.
I eat the mangoes. Okay.
The mangoes are eaten by me.
The mangoes are eaten by
me.
By me.
Example. Okay. Very simple. Very simple example. So maybe and going to another tense, another present tense. Present continuous, for example, the structure is subject plus auxiliary to be in present simple plus being plus past participle.
Okay.
You have to put the being to show that the action is being done now.
All right.
Okay. Maybe simple sentence, the same sentence. If we turn it into present continuous, I'm eating the mangoes. The mangoes are being eaten by me. Okay.
Yes.
And with present perfect, you have subject plus auxiliary to have in present simple plus being plus past participle.
Okay.
I have eaten the mangoes. The mangoes have been eaten by me. Here you always put the being. Okay. And when it comes to past tenses, with preterite, for example.
Simple past.
Yes, simple past.
Okay.
Subject plus auxiliary to be in preterite plus past participle.
Good.
I ate the mangoes. The mangoes were eaten by me. Okay.
Good.
And when it comes to present past perfect, for example, auxiliary to subject plus auxiliary to have in preterite plus being plus past participle.
Okay.
I had eaten the mangoes. The mangoes had been eaten by
me.
And when it comes to future, simple, is subject plus will plus be plus past participle.
Okay.
I will eat the mangoes. The mangoes will be eaten by me. Of course, I don't teach it this way, like mechanical sentences. Okay. These are just examples I give.
Okay.
But when it comes to practicing, I go through dialogues or through texts that are connected. Okay. Because when we talk about communicative CLT, we have to do things that have a connection, things that have a link to make it more communicative. Okay. So this is the structure. Sometimes students find it very hard to form the structure, but in my lessons I make it as clear as possible. I write form, then I give the whole form, and I use color chalks to make it more visible.
Make the difference of use of this. So it's very interesting. So sometimes integrating in a dialogue, in the second activity, linguistic and communicative competence. For example, when the activity is about verb tense and forms, put the verbs between brackets in the correct form and tense. Sometimes you can give a sentence as a trap, okay? But the students, they got problems to understand. When you say the tree, all right, to catch. The tree to catch. It is active or passive. Sometimes the students, when they don't know how to understand it, or they don't have vocabulary background, it's okay. So in class, in the classroom, do you succeed in sometimes showing them these kinds of problems, to avoid, or this kind of trap to avoid in the future?
Okay, first of all, I would say to students
especially to baccalaureate.
Yes, first of all, I would say to students that you might face these problems, especially at the baccalaureate. Sometimes the instruction is not clear. The instruction doesn't mention that it's passive, but it's up to you to guess and identify. Why? Because there are some verbs that generally go with the passive, especially if the subject is undergoing the action. As you said, the tree to cut. Yes. It's the same as road to build. I gave that example in my class, and most of students failed. I say new roads to build. There are many narrow roads. It was in the context of the accident that happened in Sikilo. Yes. I said there are many narrow roads in Senegal. It's high time new roads to build. You see.
It's another problem.
Another problem is
it's high time. Yeah. Should we include the simple past if they don't know right? I mean, they use. I mean, which tense we can use with this high time. Yeah. Okay. First, the second, it is active or passive voice. It's a real problem.
I said to them, its high time is a time marker for preterite, a simple past. I have done a lot of activities on this, and I think that they know it now. Most of them know it. But when I say it's high time, new roads, between parentheses, built. It's high time, new roads, built. I say, no. Roads cannot build, but they are built. Okay, they are not doing the action, but they are undergoing it. And I said to them that you might face these problems at the baccalaureate. Okay, in the instruction may not specify that it's active or passive, but it's up to you. Okay, and to solve this problem, I think we must help students be familiar with the verbs. Okay, the verbs, the action that the verbs do. If the verb is inactive or is passive. Okay. Sometimes it's a real problem, but I think we need to do our best.
Yes, to do our best to practice. Practice make perfect. Thank you for having raised another problem. Very important, I mean, activity to sometimes the students should know. Passive voice. And it's a very, I mean, fruitful lesson that sometimes they can integrate in their writing. It's like a activity. I mean, to show the teacher they have they master the grammar point. So, you dear listeners, 10 to 6, you are still watching Alkuma TV, listening to Alkuma FM, practice your English. Weekly program that takes place every Saturday from 5 to 6 p.m. So please, it's possible to have a short break before coming back to our guest. Yes, let's go. Dedicated to Mr. Jara, teacher of history and geography, Mr. Ndao, teacher of French. Okay, so do you have some dedication
to the same guys, as you said? Yeah.
Okay. Yes, but the problem is Mr. Jara can't speak English, Mr. Ndao too can't. Now it's up to them to express themselves in English, to come and learn English. Okay, so geography teachers should speak English because it's a very, I mean, good subject, okay, that when they go for some researches in Canada or in Ghana or in Nigeria, okay, they should pay a lot of money to be translated, okay. So before going there, Mr. Jara, come on, and Mr. Now come on and learn English with him. Why not? Okay, Mr. Gako is here, right? He can help you. Let's go. It's 9 to 6. You're still listening to Alkuma FM, to watch Alkuma TV, practice your English. As an honor to receive Miss Gako, teacher of English at Mam Sheikh Mbai High School. I think the time has come, okay, to say bye-bye. So before that, I am going to let you to say one word or some words to the students, I mean, about passive voice, about grammar learning, I mean, in order to better themselves.
Okay, maybe before that, maybe I wanted to come back on an activity that sometimes I have imagined coming to passive voice. It related to general knowledge, and here the objective is to help students be able to form the structure, and at the same time have some general knowledge related to general life, etc. Example, ask a question in active and expect the answer in passive. Example, where can we visit the pyramids?
Yeah, that's good.
The pyramids can be visited in Egypt.
Yes.
Who won the elections?
Absolutely.
The elections.
Question in passive.
Yeah, question in active and expect the in passive. And here the challenge, they have two challenges to help students. The first is to make students know how to form the structure, and the other to have some general knowledge, some background related to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I do it, and it's very fun, and I'm always proud of myself and happy when I do it, because it helps students. Because acquiring knowledge, general knowledge, is also part of the process of learning and teaching. So coming to my last word, I would first of all thank you.
Thank you
for
so much.
having me. I'm really honored, and I'm always available if need be.
Thank you so much.
To come and take part to these activities. So to the students, I would just, as I often do in class.
Yeah.
So I take a lot of time sometimes to advise students, to talk to them. I often say that learning, school doesn't give you everything you need or everything you must have.
That's
okay? Teachers are here as guides or monitors, but most of, maybe 80% of things you have to know, the initiative should come from you.
Absolutely.
Okay? And when it comes to learning English, especially passive voice, the students also should, once they go home, practice. Okay?
Yes.
Take the lesson, practice. Because the problem is, a lot of students, they don't work at home.
They don't learn their lesson.
They don't learn, and they don't learn their lesson, and they neglect homework.
Absolutely.
They neglect homework, and that's why they always have problems when it comes to many grammar. Okay, and I just would say them that teaching passive voice is not complicated.
No.
It's only about tenses, structure, auxiliaries, and past participles. Okay, and whenever they do a lesson in class, once home, they should revise. Okay, practice, do the exercise, or why not go to other sources to find information, like the internet or books, etc. Find their informations.
That's it.
Okay.
Thank you. It's very nice. Thank you for this precious advice to the students. So I am just going to thank you, and then the time you give every time. Sometimes I know it's not easy. I mean, to come. Teachers want to come, so this because of lack of time they won't be here. But anyway, we are going to think about another initiative. I mean, to go to schools, okay, and
Why not?
Yeah, it's possible. We are going to I'm discussing with the IA. I try to find these teachers in the classroom, okay, and then exchange with them about English, learning English, teaching. I mean, to have a fun activity, fun English class. So dear listeners and viewers, we are at the end of this broadcast. Okay, I thank the guest, Mr. Gako from Sheikh Mbai High School. So next time, same place, okay, inshallah. I wish you a happy weekend.
Thank you.
Everything I went through, you were standing there by my side, and now you gon' be with me for the last ride. It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a